Hello YouTube, it's me Bergie, and I'm here with a book haul / TBR video kind of thing. If you already watched my update part 2 for 2017, you'll know what I mean by this, but if not, I'm basically combining a library book haul / friend borrowing kind of book haul and a TBR, because I have 2 books that I did not technically buy or that I've already talked to you guys about, but I plan on reading them now, so I just want to let y'all know. But yeah, so I know that's really confusing, but yeah. I now have time to read books, so now I'm trying to read as many as I can, and the easiest, cheapest way to do that is to go to the library or to borrow books from friends. Now, I'm pretty much restricted by what I can get my hands on because, like I said, I can't really buy books because I'll be going home soon and it costs a lot of money to ship books over and that's not something that I want to do, so I'm pretty much limited to borrowing from the local library, which, let me tell you, I do support libraries wholeheartedly. I think they're a great thing and I use them all the time, but the local library for Glasgow, where I'm staying, is not the best. It does not have a wide selection of books to choose from, so I'm pretty much restricted to what I can find there. I'm hoping at some point that I will be able to spend like an hour just looking at all the books that they have and I'll be able to find something that I want to read, but the books that I have with me right now are pretty much the only books that I found that I actually recognized, and that's why I chose them. They might not necessarily have been books I would have been dying to read otherwise, but I'm dying to read, period, so I will take any book. I also, like I said, borrowed a book from a friend, so I'm hoping they'll let me borrow all the books from them because a lot of my friends have the same kind of reading preferences, or they like the same kind of books that I do. So I'm hoping I can borrow from them. And then again, I have 2 books that I'm pretty sure talked about before, but I'm deciding to read them now, so I decided to include them instead of making a 2-minute video just discussing a TBR, or making a TBR where I go over the same books over again, because that'll be pretty boring. And I don't want to just like repeat myself to you guys. I don't want to make videos with the same content just to have more videos up. I want to make it more meaningful. So, with that introduction aside, I will now briefly discuss the books that I have with me right now. I will include titles of the books here just in case you can't see them on the book covers, and I'll also link their Goodread pages in the description box just in case you want more of a summary of the books, because I'm probably not going to go into them that much. I don't really know a whole bunch about what these books are about, and I prefer doing that. I like going into books blind because, I mean, that's the whole appeal about it, at least for me that is. So I might not be giving you a ton of information, so if you want more information about the books I will be talking about, then they will be in the description box below. So now into the books. The first book that I borrowed from the library is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but like I said, I'll have the name down here so you can see it. I have already read this book, so I do know what it is about, and I will have an actual discussion up about this book, a non-spoiler discussion up at some point soon, because this book I have a lot of things to talk about. But anyway, basically this is about a girl who's starting high school, and for her English class she is given the assignment to write a letter to a dead person. Now, instead of writing just one, she decides to carry this out and write multiple letters over the course of, I'm pretty sure, a year, and you learn a lot about her during a difficult time in her life, what she's been going through and all that through the letters that she's written to famous people. So I'm not going to go into more depth about this because I do want to talk about it in a separate video, but that's basically the summary of this book. The second book that I borrowed from the library I also read already, so I do have a little bit of information on it, but at the same time I don't really know what it's about despite having read it, so you can kind of tell what I think about it. But the book is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Now, the reason I picked this up was firstly because I want to read more Neil Gaiman books. The only other book that I've read by him was Good Omens, but he wrote that with Terry Pratchett, so I didn't really see his writing style just him on his own. And I know he's a popular author, so I've been wanting to get into his books. I chose this book, one, because it was the only one there, and two, because I've heard about this on BookTube quite briefly. I've seen it in a couple of videos, I think, pop up. So I was like, okay, I might as well pick this one up. But like I said, I really have no idea what this book is about. All I can tell you for sure is that a 40-something middle-aged man is recounting a brief period of time in his childhood, and a lot of weird stuff goes on during that time. So it's basically him just talking about that. And really, that's all I picked up from this book. I might post a full review on this book, a non-spoiler review, or I might keep it for a wrap-up, because I don't know if I will have much to say about this, because again, I'm kind of confused about what this story was about. So the next two books that I borrowed from the library I have not read, and therefore I don't know much about them. So again, you can look in the description box below for links to their Goodread pages if you want more information. So the first book is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The reason I picked this up is because I've heard about Libba Bray on BookTube before, so I was like, hey, might as well pick this up. I know about her, or I know of her. I also think I've read a book by her before. I might be wrong. So I know about her. I've heard a lot about Libba Bray, so I decided to pick this up. This is apparently a fantasy kind of supernatural book about witchcraft or the occult, I guess. And that's pretty much all the summary on the back of this book says. So that's all I know, and that's all I want to know. The only thing is, I'm pretty sure this is part of a series, which is annoying, because if the library does not have the second book in this series, I will be quite annoyed, because especially if I really come to enjoy this book, I'm going to want to read it as soon as I can. I don't know, we'll have to wait to see if I actually like it. But that's all I know about this book, and that's all I care to know. So the final book I borrowed from the library, I'm quite surprised that I was able to find it there, because it is relatively new. I'm pretty sure it came out in 2016. I was really surprised because, like I said, this library does not have a very great selection of books, but I found it, and I heard a lot of hype about it on BookTube. And that book is Replica by Lauren Oliver. Now, if you are familiar with BookTube, you have probably seen this mentioned so many times by other people, and pretty much the reason why this book is given hype is because the way you can read it is very interesting. You can read it from Lyra's point of view and Gemma's point of view. Like it's a flipped book. Let me see if I can find the in-between. So, oh, that's really pretty. I haven't seen anybody show this, but like in between the two stories, there's a butterfly, and then on this side you read it one way, and then obviously on the other side it's upside down, so you'd have to turn it over to read it. And basically you can either read one side completely and then go to the other side, or do every other chapter. I really don't know how I'm gonna read this. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, I basically picked this up because I heard a lot of hype about it on BookTube, and I saw it, so I was like, I'm gonna see if all that hype was warranted. I don't really know what this is about. I'm pretty sure it's a sci-fi kind of book, but other than that, I don't know much about it. And yeah, like the summaries in it doesn't really give a whole bunch of information about the book, so I'm pretty much gonna go into this without any prior knowledge of what this will be about. I'm unsure if I will actually like this. But yeah, so those are the 4 books that I borrowed from the library. I also have one book that I borrowed from a friend, and that is Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. Now in the US, I'm pretty sure this is considered the Golden Compass trilogy, but here in the UK and pretty much everywhere else, I think it's called His Dark Materials. So I really don't know much about this book. When my friends were telling me about it, they kind of gave off the impression that it was an iconic children's fantasy book in the same way as Narnia was. And I've heard about this book before. I know The Golden Compass is a movie. I haven't seen it because I wanted to read the books, but apparently the movie is not a very good adaptation at all, so I'm glad I haven't watched it. But yeah, so this is like a classic children's fantasy book, so I've been wanting to read it for a while, and now I have the time to do so, and I have the means to do so because I have the book right here. But other than that, I don't know much about this. The only thing that I remember, and I only know it from the movie, so it might not be correct, is that there's a little girl, there's a polar bear, and then there's some kind of witch that reminds me a lot of the witch from Narnia. Although that might just be me combining the two movies together, because I don't know, when I was younger they always seemed to be on at around the same time. So I might be completely wrong about there being a witch in this, I don't know. Yeah, but I am excited to read this finally. It's been on my radar, and especially because Philip Pullman is starting a new book series. I don't know if it has anything to do with his Dark Materials, but it's exciting when an author who kind of is classic, like a classic children's writer, writes a new book. So I'm glad to finally read this, and I'm hoping I'll be able to finish the series before his book comes out. And finally, like I said, the other two books are books that I already own and I've hauled before, I'm pretty sure, but I'm deciding to read them now because I haven't had time previously. Both of these books I bought for my dissertation, but I didn't end up using them, but I still really want to read them because they are interesting. And they also have to do with, if you've seen my update video part 2 again, you'll know I want to do kind of a genre overview and kind of discussion about a certain genre, so these will definitely fit into the one that I can probably do before I go home for the summer. So yeah, the first one is We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. This is a dystopian novel which is the inspiration for George Orwell's 1984. 1984 has had a resurgence in popularity because of current events, but I thought it would be interesting to see the original book that inspired 1984. So I'm excited to read this. I don't really know much about it. The other novel is again a dystopian, but it is Brave New World. I should know more about this than I do because it is a classic and it is kind of a well-known classic, but I really don't know much more other than it is a dystopian novel. I'm pretty sure it has to do with babies or something, vats of babies. Or at least that's what I picture when I hear people talk about it. But that might be completely wrong. I don't know. So those are the books that I borrowed from the library from my friends, and books that I plan on reading in general in the next couple of weeks or so. I'm hoping to get most of them done by the next couple of weeks. I definitely need to have the library books read by the second week of April, so I'll definitely be reading those soon. But yeah, those are the books that I plan on reading and that I've borrowed, so I hope you'll stick around for any reviews that I will post on them. I should have definitely one for Love Letters to the Dead. I want to talk about that, so hopefully I'll have that posted soon. I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!